Okay guys, so another storm blew through again and has taken off most of our cover, so bit of a shame, to be honest with you, although it was only ever really supposed to be a temporary cover, this one, but yeah, it's completely ravaged it. So I think what we're going to do, we've just been chatting, we were saying if we try and replace this cover now, realistically it's a good half day to get that off on ladders, messing about, getting all the bits of timber off, etc. Pull the new one over, and then we'll probably be into a second day to actually finish it off properly. So maybe that time would be better spent just getting this windscreen sealed now and look to get the windows in as well. So I think what we're going to do is hop up on the deck. We've got a couple of gel coat repairs that we need to do where the old windscreen wiper motors were, which were incorrectly positioned. So we'll jump up on the deck, we'll get those gel coat repairs done, get a just basically need sanding and then just a little bit of gel coat dropping into them, thickened, get that in, let that set up, might need another coat, and then we'll be able to hopefully wet sand and polish that and get those done. And we're doing those because they're really close to the screen, and then we can look to then clean up the screen and get everything sealed up. Okay, so the first step is just to give the area a quick wipe with acetone. Next we mix up some gel coat thickened with a thickening agent, in this case we've used colloidal silica, and then just carefully apply that into the repair. Now over to the port side of the boat, I'm using exactly the same process as before. I'm also using some 400 grit just to take off the top layer of the gel coat, as this was oxidised and yellow. We want to get it back to the original colour, so that when we apply the new gel coat we get a nice colour match. Okay, after a couple of hours I can wet sand the repair with some 240 grit sandpaper. Now I actually made the mistake here of using some graphite guide coat, which the problem with that is if you've got any pits and hollows, which we did have at this stage, is that actually goes down into those pits and you can't get it out. So really that needs to be saved for the later stages. I used this too early really, but you live and learn. Okay, so we've filled these with thickened gel coat just to sort of try and build it up a bit to the right level. Still got some craters and air pockets and stuff in here, so we've given that a sand down with 240 grit, just got that whole area nice and flat. So what we'll do now is we'll use some unthickened gel coat. Richard's just mixing some up. It's the Scott Bader 337, and we'll get this coated again. It's probably going to take a couple of goes to get this right, but get another coat on there, let that set up, give it another sand and see how it looks. So we're using unthickened gel coat this time and just making sure we get that into all those pockets and craters, then using a small piece of acetate sheet on top to cover the repair, and then we use the plastic scraper just to make sure we get rid of any air bubbles. Okay, while we're waiting for that gel coat to set up, we're now moving on to the windscreen. We need to give this whole windscreen a really good clean, ready for sealing. Alrighty, so that screen now is fully clean. So we've hoovered, acetoned it, cleaned all the adhesive off, got it as clean as we possibly can. Been in there with some cotton buds as well, and just all the way down this channel. This channel actually at the front is really tight, and in fact over here it actually closes up to nothing, so it's going to be quite tricky to get the adhesive in there. But at the end of the nozzle we're going to squeeze it with a pair of pliers and get the nozzle as thin as we can, and then we'll poke it in here, push it in here, and try and squeeze that adhesive in there as hard as we can. The rest of it, sides and top and down here, plenty of room. So let's go and get the adhesive open and we'll get this all sealed in. So here we're applying the Sikaflex 295 UV sealant. It's quite a warm sunny day, so we need to make sure that we stay within the working time of the sealant. So one of us is going around the perimeter with the sealant gun, and then the other is following with a squeezy bottle and some soapy water and a squeegee, and just removing any of the excess sealant. Now back to the gel coat repairs. I wet sand the repair with 240 grit and a small block, and once I'm happy there are no air pockets in the gel coat, I use the guide coat to achieve a perfectly smooth finish. Next I mask off the area, apply some cutting compound, and then give the whole area a machine polish with a wool mop. Okay, so our gel coat repairs are now done. We've also polished all across this front edge. That's just so that we can now seal this front edge. A lot easier to do all this work now than it is to try and do it when sealant's in there, because we could damage the sealant. This is looking pretty nice. I'm going to say it's not perfect. We have got, and I don't know whether the camera picks it up, but just a couple of dark shadows. So maybe we'll come in afterwards when we're doing all the gel coat repairs on the outside and we'll just grind that out and just put a bit more gel in there. But looking pretty good. Also cleaned all the way down here and polished all of that. Again, a lot easier to do that now than when we've got that expensive glass in there. And I'm just working my way around the B pillar now, and we'll be able to get that then. That's all ready for when we want to put the glass in. Windscreen, this one is sealed in. We ran out of sealant, so we've got some more on the way, and this is looking pretty nice. So we didn't actually tape it off. I'd watched a guy who does this all the time on super yachts, and what he said to do actually was that not to use masking tape because you can get a little ridge on the edge. So just use the squeegee, run it down there with some soapy water, and then any excess that you get on the glass or on the moulding, just wipe off with mineral spirit. And that's exactly what we did, and that worked nicely. So we will be doing the same again on that side. However, we have got a small issue with this, and that is sealed it all up nice, squeegeed it, all looked great, and then a bird came in and stuck its feet in the sealant. So there is a section, and also up here, it's made a bit of a mess up here. It's a bit annoying really. I don't know if it's pecked at it or stuck its feet in it, but yeah. So we're just going to have to cut that section out. There's no way we're going to cut all that out and do it again. So what we'll do is we'll just cut this section out. It's been in for about a week, so cut this section out and then lay a piece in there, and hopefully we'll get away with that. Nothing more we can do really, just one of those things. So that to do, and I'll just carry on with this B pillar. So I start by masking off the area with some masking tape, and then using some protection sheet to cover the fiberglass and also the windscreen. Next, using a sharp knife, I very carefully remove the damaged sealant, making sure not to catch the windscreen or the painted fiberglass. On to the second repair, and using exactly the same process. Fortunately the sealant is still quite soft, so I'm able to easily remove that sealant, and then again just being really careful around that painted Alex Seal fiberglass and also that very expensive windscreen. Time to give the windscreen another clean. It is harvest time in the UK, so the fields around us are being harvested at the moment, which means there's a lot of dust in the air. So yeah, we're giving it a wipe down and a final hoover ready for the sealant on the second half of that windscreen. Time to seal in the port side of the windscreen using the 295 UV again, and being really careful not to get any air bubbles, as these can expand and cause issues. Again, the gap at the bottom of the windscreen was really small, So we just use a pair of pliers just to squeeze the end of the nozzle, and then we're able to force the sealant in the bottom of the screen. Working on this B-pillar back edge, just trying to get this gel coat as good as we can get it. So when we got the boat, there was a very definite line running up here, and you could see where it had been faired and joined, because actually the joint, if you can imagine, this moulding is in two parts. In fact, there's multiple parts to this moulding, we think. So you've probably got this side, then obviously you've got this upper rail bit, and this has all been joined. In fact, you can see there's a joint here. There's a joint down here that runs under there and then runs up this side here, and the factory had already sanded and prepped that bit, and we've just polished it, and that's looking pretty good. It's got a ripple in it, but we suspect that's probably true of most boats, but that's where the joint is. And then this back edge was never finished completely, and you could see through it. So we've actually, in fact there was some splits and gaps in it, so we've actually faired it again, rubbed it all back, faired it, and then we've given it a coat of gel coat, and for the most part it looks really good. It's just this bit here, you still got this faint line where you can see where the joint is. So just been talking to Richard, it's really hard, this gel coat, to get this right sometimes, but I think what we're just going to have to do is just put a little bit more on this edge, so feather a little bit out on this edge, build it up a little bit along here, and then have another go at flattening it and polishing it. And Richard's been working in the anchor locker, and he's been getting all this ground out. Not a pleasant job at all, but he's managed to get all this ground out. He's going to acetone it next, and then we've got some biax to go in the top, in the corners, just to put the last bit of strength in here. So I've got some biax to go in this corner as well, and then what we'll be doing is, once that's in, we'll be able to then flow coat all of this, and that will again should be good for the winter. So we're just getting ready now to glass the anchor locker. That is all prepped and ready, and Richard's just cut all these pieces of biax and chop strand mat, so they're all ready to go into place. So we're just going to mix up some resin, wet it all out, drop it in a bucket, and then I'll feed it up through here to Richard in the anchor locker. Okay, so we have, or Richard has, glassed that bulkhead head in with extra layer of the biaxle, and then he's also acetoned all of that, sanded it and acetoned it as well, and then we've just blocked up the drain holes. You can see those there and there, just put a bit of masking tape in there. So next we need to flow coat all of this, so Richard's just mixing up some flow coat and we'll get that on. Alchemist is just mixing up some flow coat, so this is just regular gel coat that we've got, and then he's mixing it with 10% styrene, and then we'll just add a little bit of MEKP to that. Okay, that's going to be a wrap for today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you on the next one.